Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my channel, and also welcome back to the John Farnham series. This is part 5, and I'm hoping you all had been enjoying this series so far. So for this video, I'm going to be talking about 1990 to 1994. So this is going to cover about Chain Reaction, Jesus Christ Superstar, and Then Again. And let me talk about all of that stuff today. So let's kick off what I'm going to talk about with Chain Reaction. Unlike the two previous albums' success, how they can top it to make it better as ever. So what they decided is to change it up, the whole formula, and risk it. So instead, writers submitted their songs to John. They'd actually wanted to concentrate on writing their own material for the album. During the writing sessions, John, Ross, and Phil Buckle from Southern Sons having discussions of what they want to write about. John had an idea because they were aware of different events that was been happening around the world at that time. However, he might not written about firsthand, and they helped to shape the sounding of the album. Ultimately, John co-wrote 9 of the 12 songs. There'll be 4 songs off the album will be called Chain Reaction. And everything changed. And actually, there was a song supposed to be in the album, but didn't fit the flow of the record. That track is called Chains Against the Heart. It was written by Richard Marx. However, John chose to add this ballad song to the album. That song is called Burn For You, which will be a fan favorite song that will be used for John's performances. Since the launch of the album, it would become an extraordinary record in history had the release into 7 times platinum. John told TV Week, "I'm proud of this album. I think it's better than Whispering Jack and Age of Reason. Whether it will be a big hit or not, I don't know, but I have to walk away as happy as I can possibly knowing. And I can't do any better. It's easier to cop it than if it stiffs." John wouldn't worry because the album debuted straight to #1 at the ARIA charts. It was quite different in style and lyrically and had so many incredible hits such as Chain Reaction, That's Freedom, In Days to Come, The Time Has Come, etc. When it was ready to skyrocket to the international audience, after so many attempts to make it big in the United States, it actually failed. Actually, if this is a misinformation, forgive me. The reason why this album never released in the United States because of 2 reasons. One was, I don't know if it was Burn For You, In Days To Come, or That's Freedom, were supposed to be the first single for the US market. Eventually, by the record company BMG North America, chose to be In Days To Come. Because it would be a lighthearted song, but the record company regretted that deciding due to the fact it was kind of a political song and very similar to Elvis's If I Can Dream song. And I'm totally confused about that. I don't know what's the reason for it, but there is a way, or maybe there's, I don't know. I don't know if this is true or not, but that's what I know about. Then the second reason was, what was the genre that John stands for? Well, actually, I think Glenn Wheatley told the record company saying everything. John can sing everything. And that's my own theory about it. And I don't think that they didn't know what John's genre is going to be. So that's what it is. By the time of No Waiting Seeing Jack on the Road, before John goes back to Australia for the upcoming tour, they held a press conference mentioning they are going to promote the album in Europe first, then coming back in late October in 1990 to get ready for the Chain Reaction tour. John toured all across Australia, having the biggest crowds since the Age of Reason tour. And this would be insane that one venue sold out for 8 shows. That would be in Melbourne and breaking more records. And that tour changed the game. Before finishing their tour on Australia Day in 1991, before closing about Chain Reaction tour in Australia, I wanted to share this photo. It's pretty funny that it seems this concert may be somewhere in New Zealand, in Wellington or Auckland. I don't know. But anyway, this photo, next to John, his longtime friend Molly Meldrum, dressing up as Sadie the cleaning lady, it seems John looks so embarrassed, and I'm just like, what the hell is this photo? I saw this on Facebook and going, oh my gosh, what the hell Molly is doing? What's he doing? Why is he dressing up as Sadie? Oh my bloody god, it's so hilarious. So that's enough of that. Before closing the chapter of Chain Reaction, John toured in Europe in June 1991, kicking off from Germany, UK, Switzerland, Netherlands, and Denmark, and back to Germany, then coming back to Australia. That Chain Reaction European tour will be the last time that John toured to Europe until he comes back in 1998 for 2 concerts. I'll mention about it on the next video. After the aftermath of Chain Reaction, the record company RCA decides to make 2 options for what's next for John. They ask John and Ross Fraser 2 things in mind: make a new album or release a live album. So they decided to make a live album, getting the concerts from Whispering Jack, Age of Reason, and Chain Reaction tours. And that album was released on November 1991 as Full House. And to promote the album, John had booked a few gigs as he calls the Full House Tour, aka the Greatest Hits Tour, in mid-November to New Year's Eve 1991 at Myers Music Bowl in Melbourne. Just before ending his Chain Reaction tour, in early January 1991, John traveled somewhere in New South Wales, where in a huge collaboration what becomes the Australian history, when John will collaborate with one and only Jimmy Barnes for his upcoming album, Soul Deep, and one of the most incredible records by 2 Australian artists. The song is called When Something Is Wrong With My Baby. And a representative from John heard the song, didn't like it, but Glenn convinced to the record company to release it and told them saying, I don't think it will be a hit. And Jimmy's record label, Mushroom Records, released the song anyway. When Something Is Wrong With My Baby came out in October 1991, just literally straight to number 1. And then originally, John and Jimmy were gonna collaborate again 23 years later for 30-30 hindsight. But the record company decides to erase John's vocals. That song is called When Your Love Is Gone. Now moving on to 1992 will be the time as when a musical prodigy goes back to the musical theater world, but this time as a concert arena. There were a lot of convincing for John way back in 1989 when they approached the idea to John in the first place, is to be cast as Jesus Christ. But John wasn't even that sure if he felt right for the role or he felt too old to play the lead, and wasn't 100% sure. But here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. When David Hirschfelder was announced for being a musical director for Jesus Christ Superstar, John decides he's in. After so many rehearsals until their opening night here in Sydney on August 1992, it was an Australian hit. And with John Farnham doing Superstar, what the actual F just happened? And going, it's a huge success. And they continue that tour in Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, and Adelaide. The day when they launched the ticket sales, it skyrocketed and completely sold out at least for 400 per minute per ticket. In totally 94 concerts. What the hell? 94 concerts. John doing a musical concert tour for Jesus Christ Superstar. What? That's insane. And of course, if you guys haven't watched it, my god, it's absolutely amazing. The way John sang it in that show, oh my god, you have goosebumps. And what a powerful voice that John had for Superstar. I got no words to describe it, but my god, it's so good. And if you listen to Gethsemane all the way to... I got no words, fam. Like, what the this is so amazing. I've never seen an artist perform like this shit before. Never in my life. So, let's move on to the next part. So that is it about Chain Reaction, Full House, and Superstar. So before moving on about Then Again, I'm going to show you all the collection that I have. So last time I showed you guys about Whispering Jack and Age of Reason, but now I'm going to show you all about Chain Reaction. So first up is the Chain Reaction cassette tape. Super cool to own. Next up is the CD of Chain Reaction. So you have incredible hits such as That's Freedom, In Days to Come, Burn For You, Chain Reaction, and much more. And you have other incredible songs in the record, like you have See the Banners Fall, I Can Do Anything, All Our Sons and Daughters, In Your Hands, New Day, The Time Has Come, and Time and Money, and The First Step. That's very interesting to own. So this is Chain Reaction, the CD. Showing all the vinyl. And then we got the other side. Yeah, this is so amazing to have. And I remember when I saw this, I was like, I want to own this one day. And then I think a couple months later, I found it again. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll buy it. And then, yeah. Not only I have the Chain Reaction vinyl, cassette, and CD, I have the concerts. Woo, look at that. And I'm like, when I saw this in the shops, I was like, I have to own this. And to be honest, I haven't tested it since I got it. So I got it like early this year. And yeah, it was so cool to see. And seeing this in person, that's another level. And then, of course, got the concert in DVD. So cool to have. And next up is the Full House CD. And you have a one compile track list of songs from those 3 concert tours they did years ago. So I think this is from Whispering Jack, Age of Reason, and Chain Reaction tours. And of course, you got the others in the back. And then you got a hole in the collection. But yeah, when I saw this, and I was like, I want to have the original, not the one that we have in the compile CD, but I want to have like a digi pack of this. But it's so cool to own. Next up is Then Again. Another great record from John Farnham. And I think I did mention about in the video, say this is one of my all-time favorites. But there's some really good songs in this record. You have Angels, Seem Like a Good Idea, Only Women Bleed, Talent for Fame, When All Else Fails, Treated This Way, Always the Same, The Reason Why, So Long in Love, Diamonds, and Talk of the Town. All my favorites. I love it. This is one of my favorite records ever. And of course, I brought this up on the Uncovered video, and yes, I have the Then Again and more. So this includes the Then Again and the Uncovered CDs. Because I want to own a Uncovered CD one day, but then when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, I already got Then Again. So, hey, why not? Why not have another one? And last but not least, same thing with the VHS copy of the concert of Chain Reaction. I have a VHS copy of Talk of the Town. Woo! This looks like a beauty. And seeing this in person, again, it's just absolutely amazing to see. And you have amazing songs off the concert. And that's what I'm going to mention later in the video. Woo! And those are songs that were not in the original set list, and it's very interesting to see. So that is it of the Chain Reaction, Then Again, and Full House haul. So let's kick off the next part of the video, and that'll be about Then Again. After the success of Superstar, what kind of album that John wants to do next? Bring in some new material and bringing back the team Ross Fraser, Doug Brady, their engineer, Phil Buckle from Southern Sons, who worked with John previously for the Chain Reaction album, and the new addition to the team, who just joined for this album, an American artist Richard Marx, who previously sent a demo for Chains Against the Heart. John Stevens, he actually sent a demo tape to John for Age of Reason called Listen to the Wind, and previously worked with John for Superstar. In November 1992 article quoted by John says, "I've been lucky even when I was struggling, and I was never bitter about it, and I'm not interested in doing fucking sequels. I have to keep moving. How can the next record can top like what the last 3 albums did since his comeback?" To the next album, Then Again, John co-wrote 9 out of 14 songs with Phil Buckle, Ross Fraser, and Richard Marx. The album came out in October 1993 and reached number 1 in the ARIA charts. To be honest, this album is one of my favorites, but I'll talk about my favorite albums in a later date. So, in late 1993, John decided to take the album on the road in early 1994, named after a song from the album called Talk of the Town. Taking the Talk of the Town tour all across Australia from February to April 1994, performing his greatest hits, including songs off the Then Again album, performing songs like Seemed Like a Good Idea, Angels, The Reason Why, Talk of the Town, etc. Funny enough, John actually performed other songs that was not added to the original setlist, adding songs for the tour such as Gethsemane, performed from Superstar, Black Dog, doing a Led Zeppelin cover, and When the War Is Over. The last time John performed that song was during the Whispering Jack tour in 1987. An incident happened at Rwanda. John, Glenn, and his team decides to telethon a concert on August 7th, 1994, raising money for the children of Rwanda, tens of thousands of refugees and orphans from what has been described as the worst humanitarian disaster of our time. From the Help by Channel 9 and been headliner called John Farnham and Friends live concert at National Tennis Centre in Melbourne, and raised for $2.8 million and televised the concert. Couple months ago, I'd watched the concert. Let me say this concert is a highlight, and performing his hits, including songs off the album Then Again, performing the same setlist from the Talk of the Town tour. To the other songs were performed in that show is Amazing Grace, with their bandmate Vanilla Fields, who worked with John since the Whispering Jack tour all the way to the music video for Have a Little Faith in late 1995. And again in 2002 in the Domain in Sydney for the Bali Memorial Service. Also haven't performed this song since the Chain Reaction tour and the Beatles cover of Help. And first and only time performed a song off the album Then Again called Always the Same. Amazing song, and John and his writing team to make an excellent song that would be appropriate for whatever event will occur. After that, John will take a long break until he comes back in 1996 for his upcoming album that will be out in that year. And we know that album, Romeo's Heart. So that is it for the 90s video of the John Farnham series. Hope you all enjoy it. So take care of yourselves, everyone, and catch you next time.